In a previous video I did a Elk Hair Caddis, or I tied it with Klipspringer, not Elk Hair, and I also mentioned that I'll do a few variations of the Elk Hair Caddis. Now again, most of these variations evolved out of the area where we fish them quite often, and that is on Sterkfontein where we fish for yellowfish. And often you want a fly that breaks the surface a little bit, because those fish feed on the surface, but they would come up and look at the fly, and if it's just sitting too high on the surface they will turn around and go away. That's why I personally prefer to fish emerges on Sterkfontein. Now a variation that's often tied, and this was not my idea, I can't remember, and I actually don't know who decided to do this, but it works very well, and that is to leave the hackle out of the Elk Hair Caddis. So you pretty much tie an abdomen and a wing. Now again, I'm going to tie it with a trilobal dubbing and just apply that on the thread. You don't have to tie a hackle in, you're not going to use a hackle on this. Apply it very thin on the thread, because you want this abdomen to sit in the surface film. Now I'm using a grip 80 thread. I'm tying the fly on the same hook as I tied in the other video. It's a 11001 size 12 dry fly hook, and I'm using a, like I said, a very fine trilobal dubbing. And the abdomen must be thin, and you can taper a little bit towards the front, and you just wrap that around to about there, and then taper it a little bit with a few wraps to make it nice and even. To about there. I don't like to tie dubbing too far forward on the Elk Hair Caddis. That abdomen, you need space to tie that wing in and leave yourself enough space. So leave about 2 millimeters between the eye of the hook and the abdomen. The next step is the wing, and this is really a very easy and a very successful fly to tie. It's especially for beginner tyers, I would say this is probably one of the easier dry flies to tie. Can be a little bit tricky to get that wing to sit in position. Now don't tie the wing too thick. Get yourself a good quality hackle stacker, or not hackle stacker, deer hair stacker, and get those ends together. It's really a tool worth having when you tie these sort of dry flies and when you use deer hair. And you tie that wing on top of the hook. Make one wrap, pull it a little bit tight, another wrap, pull it tighter. With every wrap you pull it a little bit tighter until you've got that wing to sit nicely on top of the hook. And hold the wing in position. If you don't do that, you'll often see the wing start twisting around the hook. So you need to get that those wraps on over the deer hair, and you need to keep them, make them nice and tight, and get it to hold the deer hair wing on the hook. Every single wrap counts, and every single wrap must be a little bit tighter. and then I prefer to tie it off on the hook shank rather than on the over the deer hair. So I'll make a few wraps, pull those ends back, make a few wraps there, and whip finish that. And what you do, you pull that those ends that you need to cut off, you pull them forward, hold them together, and just cut them there. And that is the Elk Hair Caddis without the hackle. Now this fly will sit on the surface. A little bit of deer hair that spun towards the bottom. I'm just going to remove that, because you want that abdomen to be exposed. You don't really want deer hair in front of the, or underneath the abdomen, underneath the hook shank. So you want that exposed. That's going to get that abdomen to sit a little bit lower in the water. The entire fly will sit a little bit lower in the water with no hackle on the abdomen. Now I'm going to show you quickly in the same video something that I prefer to do. I do tie these and I keep them in my box, but something I prefer to do when I tie an Elk Hair Caddis without hackle, I like to use a different hook. Now I tie them on one of two hooks. It can either be the 14723BL, or what I'm going to use now is the 14711. Now this hook is available in barbless and in barb version. The 14711BL, obviously the barbless version, and I'm going to tie it on this hook now. Now you can actually go one size up. If you want to tie a size 12 fly, tie it on a size 10 hook, because the fly size will be pretty much the same as a size 12. It's just a different hook with a shorter shank. Now what you do is exactly the same tying sequence as the one I just tied. You cover the hook shank, and you go around the bend a little bit, just so that abdomen bends down a little bit. Now the reason for that is that it will break the surface a little bit, and it will sit a little bit deeper. It will break the surface a little bit easier, and it will sit a little bit deeper in the water. The abdomen will kind of hang out of the wing, which is what I prefer. You just dab the thread, and do it exactly the same way as the other one, exactly the same way as the normal Elk Hair Caddis, just without hackle. You wrap that, and you'll see it will give you the fly a curved shank, a curved abdomen, slightly curved. Don't go down too far around the abdomen. You don't want to go too far down or down the hook shank. You still want the fly to look normal and in proportion to the wing. Put a little bit more dubbing. That abdomen too. It's not tapering nicely, so let's just redo that. can put wax on the thread if you want to. I don't really with the stubbing. It's so thin and soft. It sticks to the thread very nicely. There. And you tie the same wing. So now you have another version of an Elk Hair Caddis, and I personally prefer to tie it on this hook or the 14723BL, which is a barbless, also a curved shank hook, and it also helps to get that abdomen a little bit lower. I'll show the hook image now. Just want to tie this wing, and I personally think it makes a big difference in how the fly sits on the water. You can tie the same wing. Every single wrap counts, so make sure you get that wrap nice and tight to make sure the wing sits on the hook shank. It takes a little bit longer to tie the fly, but you will be sure of a much better quality fly. And then a few wraps underneath. Tie that off. Make another work finish there. And then you cut the excess. Now you will see that, let's cut those two hair away there, one there. You will see that this fly will actually, you've got the slightly more exposed abdomen on this fly, which when it sits on the water will sit something like that on the water. With the abdomen it sits a little bit deeper. I'm actually going to cut that hair away as well. Let's try and, there we go. It will sit a little bit deeper. The abdomen will be a little bit more visible, and that's a very successful pattern to me. So please comment on this. Please subscribe to the channel, share it, and please like it. Thanks for watching.